Oh, welcome to the HCast episode number 44. Oh, do we have a stream for you today? Didn't know quite what to title this stream as, but Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny just gets or sounds worse and worse. We've got some rumors to cover about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So that's the kind of sounding worse and worse, but also the fact that it is being absolutely trounced upon by an independent. I mean, it is an independent film, I guess, isn't it? The Sound of Freedom. So
Yes.
again, that sounds
Yeah.
absolutely awful for anyone involved in Indiana Jones. I'm sure. I'm sure they're pretty pissed with that. And then we've got some Witcher season 3 bits and pieces. We got a fun show for you as always. I try to bring the best of the best here. And speaking of the best, we have the best panel here as well. We've got Andre from Midnight's Edge. How you doing, good sir?
I'm doing excellent. Greetings, everyone. Glad to be here.
Perfect. And Nick, we got Nick from Nick Talks Entertainment now. Is this what we're calling it? What is it?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So Nick, formerly of, but also still of Echo Base Network, now has a second channel, Nick Talks Entertainment. So hit subscribe on that channel. It's actually linked down below. As is Andre from Midnight's Edge. Midnight's Edge, that channel is linked down below as well. So yeah, what's happening in your worlds, chaps? What's new?
Not a whole lot here. Just staying busy. Same old.
Yeah, same here. I mean, just staying busy. Put out a video earlier today. Working on the next one already. The day just doesn't have enough hours.
Yeah. I completely agree with that as well. I mean, I literally just got stuck in traffic. Should have taken me about an hour and 20 minutes. 2 hours.
Ooh,
Thanks very much. Love it.
How far was the drive in that 2 hour?
You know, it's not that far. Like, I'll have a look. Actually, I don't think it's that far. I think it's 61 miles to go 2 hours. 2 hours to go 61 miles. Love it. Doesn't that just make you super happy? Yay.
There's been times when I've had to drive downtown, and because of traffic or a wreck or something, it's taken me 2 hours, and it's only 14 miles. And it's taken me over an hour, close to 2, to get from my house to downtown Birmingham.
Honestly, that's insanity. That is absolute insanity. It really winds me up. I mean, the UK's roads are pretty bad anyway, because they're just so bloody small. And you know, you'd think being ex-Roman, you know, most of the roads are ex-Roman roads. You think they'd be straighter, but it's just windy, bloody roads everywhere. Oh, God.
And you guys drive on the wrong side of the road over there.
Well, yeah, you know, I'd say the right, but you know, never mind. But anyway, as I said, ladies and gents, we've got a great stream for you today. If you want to join in, or you want you got a specific topic that you want us to cover, super chats are the way to do it. You'll find actually over on the second channel now that I'm using a lot of these questions that you guys super chat to us because they're so good and they give us such great conversations off the back end of your questions. So, you know, you want to support the show, you like the show, we get demonetized here, so super chats are the way to do it. But like I said, honestly, you might find it that your question is so good it's used as its own separate video on the second channel. So super chats are the way to do that. I will say as well, I don't think he's here in the chat. I can't see him, but I did miss a member. It's like a membership milestone chat thing, basically a free membership super chat last stream. So I do apologize. It's Justin B. And he said, Mr. H, have you heard anything new about the X-Files reboot? I'm hoping the writer's strike kills it. So yeah, sorry about missing that one, but obviously I've got to it now. I hope it doesn't really look like you're here, which is a bit of a shame. But if he does drop in, everyone, Justin B, you can tell him I've got to it now. No, I've not heard anything about it. The last I heard was they were trying to get it off the ground and it was going to be diverse. And I was like, the original one was very diverse. What's the issue? Like, what? All right, cool. So no, I agree, Justin B. I hope the writer's strike kills it. Genuinely, I don't think that's something which needs to be revisited. The not reboot, but the sort of revisit that they did recently, the most recent seasons, they're subpar by comparison. So, yeah, leave it. It was of its time. And it holds up. Like, it absolutely holds up for what it is as well. And joining us now, we've got Tom. How you doing,
Tom.
Oh, Tom's dead already. Never mind. All right.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you for a second. Now I can hear you.
Oh, we couldn't hear you either.
Something was up.
We can hear you now, Tom.
Can you hear me now? Good.
Oh dear, oh dear. Right. Well, I think we'll just kick it off, right? We'll get the good news rolling, and it is good news. It's very, very funny. It's you get what you deserve. Insert joke and meme. The Witcher season 3 premiere sees a 15% decrease versus season 2.
Ugh.
As audience wanes across the first 5 episodes. Samba TV report. They've already got the Samba TV report. They are on it for this. I mean, look.
Wow.
Of course this was going to happen, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Of
Yeah.
course this was going to happen. I heard, believe it or not, that because they Netflix did like a premiere for this in London, like a Witcher premiere thing. Yeah, and it was all a bit like, yeah, fine. Yeah, it went okay, but apparently Henry Cavill got like a massive standing ovation from everyone when he came out. So that was quite nice. Like that's sort of, like a big FU to Netflix at that point. But yeah, let's take a look at this. Again, this is an exclusive for Deadline. Is audience interest on the decline for Netflix The Witcher? I mean, riddle me this, Andre. Do you think audience interest on the decline for The Witcher on Netflix?
Yeah, kind of.
Is this even a question? Why is this even a question, Deadline? Like, for goodness sake. The first 5 episodes of season 3 hit Netflix on June 29th. Didn't even realize it was out, actually. It was one of those things that it just released and people were like, oh, it's out. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I didn't know it was out either.
Yeah. Since then, 1.1 million US households have tuned into the premiere. That's terrible. Now, they're like, that's a fairly strong debut. Is it? It is 15% down compared to 1.3 million households that tuned into season 2 premiere during the same window. I mean, that's not good. It's down. I wouldn't say 1.1 million US households. That's good. Tuning into a show. I'd say that's pretty bad. The amount of households in the US.
Yeah, that's not that many.
No. Interestingly, viewership for the remaining 4 episodes of season 3 suggests that audiences may not be sticking with the series. Samba measured that at about 893,000 households watched episode 2, and that shrunk to 750,000 for episode 3. And for episode 4, 602,000 households tuned in, while episode 5 drew less than half the premiere numbers with 505,000. That is awful.
That's bad.
How?
Not great.
I mean, Jesus. Goodness me. But again, you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve. It's now it's interesting. They're still trying to frame it as well, like season 1 of The Witcher still remains one of Netflix's most popular TV seasons of all time. But that's not good. It's really
Well, they
not
can
that
try,
good.
but in reality, the only way to phrase this or to frame this, at least that's honest, is this is the season that was so bad it caused Henry Cavill to quit.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, for the honest trailer and honest pitch, that's really all you need.
Goodness me. I think it's it's such a shame as well, Netflix. Like, what do you reckon it is with Netflix that have sort of sent them on this path? Do you think it's lack of oversight? So they get a property, like The Witcher, for instance, and they give it to a showrunner and they just go on, go off with it then. And do you think it's lack of oversight there? They don't have enough sort of middle management watching over these showrunners? What do you think it is? Because they must. Because otherwise, I rack my brains with trying to figure out, how you've allowed this to happen. You must see the social media. You must see the videos. You must see the numbers. You must see the star quitting. Like what is it? What has led them down this path? What do we think it actually is?
I think it's a problem that's occurring with all different kinds of studios out there, which is just basically, in my opinion, it's a total disconnect from the showrunners and the people running these corporations that's putting all this media and stuff out there and shows and movies, that they're just disconnected from what the audience wants. They see the world in one, viewpoint, and people see it a completely different way, and they just a lot of them don't change direction. It was like a breath of fresh air when the Sonic trailer came out, and the people doing that movie was like, we heard what you guys are saying. We're making changes, and they revamped the whole character before they released the movie. And because of that, fans supported it. Like, I don't know why these companies don't understand that if you give people what they want, then, they're going to support the shows and the people involved and come back and watch it. But they just,
I think we got the answer. The answer is pretty clear when Henry Cavill says, I'm leaving because they didn't follow the books.
Yeah.
They didn't follow the games.
Yeah.
I don't like the deviations from the story. Like, really,
Yeah,
I mean,
disconnect.
if you have to keep correcting the course when you have something to go off of, and the biggest complaint from the fans is you're not sticking to the source material, and your own main star, who is the, let's say it, star attraction to the show, because as we're seeing, the fans are like, fuck you, we're out because you destroyed the show because you made Henry so mad that he left. Then you went and tried to paint him as problematic in the press. When, I'm sorry, I have yet to hear one story about this guy where he's so difficult to deal with outside of they didn't do it right? Like, that's the only thing I consistently hear coming back from Henry Cavill is his problematic problems are that he wants them to stick to the character. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, I know.
Holy crap.
What
the audacity of the man. Why couldn't he just put his hand on an ass like a normal dude?
Pretty much, yeah, kind of. I mean,
sorry for my sarcasm
there. For a while there in Hollywood, that's the biggest crime that you can do is to go against a creative whose vision is different, because that's creativity and that's sacred and must not be touched.
In most cases, I would be like, no, you don't listen to the actor, right? There is 9 times out of 10, hell, maybe even 9.5 times out of 10, I'd be like, don't listen to them. But there's those rare few occasions, Henry Cavill seems to be one of them, where these guys get it. Even Mark Hamill, who is as big a moron as you can find in real life, gets it.
Yeah.
He at least gets it. And we've talked about this the other day. The best example I can give you of an actor who just didn't get it and then all of a sudden got it was Leonard Nimoy. Because for years, he's like, I'm not Spock. I want to kill the character. I'm done with this thing. People need to move on with their lives. The moment he kills the character and he sees the reaction the audience had to that, the test screening for Wrath of Khan, he's like, oh, crap, what have we done? Just like everybody else. And at that moment, he realized how much that character actually meant to people, right? And then from that moment on, he became more of a protector of Spock as opposed to somebody who was pushing that character away. And there's only a few people you can say that about. Patrick Stewart and Picard, not one of them. That's a great example of one that is not somebody who you should be listening to about their character.
Holy shit.
And there's at least probably a dozen other examples we can think of. And that's like, I'm sure that's a creative's worst thing. The last thing they want to hear when they wake up in the morning and head to the set is some actor coming up to him going, hey, I got an idea for my character. Like, I'm sure that's the last thing they want to hear, especially if they have any power or sway, because then you got to listen to them. And sadly, it didn't seem like they wanted to listen to Henry at all. And at this point, it was like, why even bother with Henry? He's like, I'm out. Screw it. And I don't blame him.
And Mark Hamill did the same thing on the set of when they were doing The Force Awakens. He was like, and The Last Jedi, he was like, here's my ideas. This is what I'm thinking. Like, I don't think this is the character. And like you said in an interview, they patted me on the head, gave me a cookie, told me to go away. You know?
Yeah.
He's like, that's not how the Force works.
Yeah.
Well, they had the same problem with Wednesday, where General Ortega.
Yes, there's another one. Yeah.
Just redoing stuff on set. It's like, no, these writers are.
But there's a case where she proved them wrong, right? She clearly had a better grasp on this character than the creatives. And when you have something like that, that tells me that it's time to clean house. Especially when you have something as successful as Wednesday or Witcher, when it's clearly built on the success of your main actor. Let's be real here. Wednesday only worked because of Jenna Ortega or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Henry Cavill being on The Witcher. That was just one of those 1 in a million shots. Because outside of nerdy nerds, I didn't know what the hell much about The Witcher. And I don't know anybody who knows The Witcher, gives a crap about The Witcher. But as soon as Henry Cavill started playing him, then they cared. Yeah. You know, like, so that can true. Make or break your show.
That is true. That is true. Well, they done fudged up, haven't they? Let's be honest. They done fudged up.
And they're filming 2 more seasons
back to back because they know they're cancelled. That's it. They know they're done. Absolutely.
Wasn't it you, Nate? One of the last shows was just flat out saying that they're probably just doing it because they know that if they don't do it now, they're going to lose the show. Probably.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying all along. Is that the moment they announced season, because it's season 3, the moment they announced season 4, and they were like, we're actually going to film it back to back. I'm like, that is the sign of them knowing full well that they're going to be cancelled. They know full well that this season is not going to do very well. It hasn't already. They know that because this is like a 2-parter, they know that the second part is going to be a bomb as well. And they know that the moment they wheel out season 4, it's dead. And so if they didn't film season 5 and have content in the bank, it'd be cancelled. Or, straight away. And I said that from the off, like it's a sign of utter desperation from, on their part, like just get it in the bag. They've agreed to it. Quick, let's just get it in the bag, before they have time to cancel it, I guess.
It is also a matter of prestige. There's prestige in having 2 seasons versus 1 with a new actor, because that way they can come with the argument, however bullshit it may be, that, oh, look, Henry Cavill, he was never that important. We got 2 seasons with Liam Hemsworth for our new vision.
Just wait and see those viewership numbers. I can't wait to see it.
Oh, they're gonna fall so hard. Way more than this 15% they're talking about for season 3.
Holy shit!
That's the only. Yeah, that's the only good thing with stuff like that, is that it presents a great opportunity for the audience to stand up to what they're doing by not watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's we got a super sticker from Al Humphreys dropping in with £10. Thank you so much, good sir. Liam John Smith for $1.99 says they also kind of changed Sonic's script. Did they? Is that something?
I don't think they changed anything in the scripting process, because I think the movie was already shot for the most part.
All
that was changed was just the model for Sonic. In fact, as far as I know, the story would have stayed the same, voice and all that. The only thing that changed was just the model, and that's it.
Yep.
As far as I know.
That's what I was aware of. And unless you got any more information there, Liam.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just, I've not heard anything more either.
Yeah. And Gary for £10 says, I am done with the MCU. Apparently a stuntman has said that they're going out of their way to make Daredevil nothing like the original series. And it's a mistake. He was bad.
Confirmed.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, it was it was Daredevil's stuntman who came out and said that.
And we reported this 2 years ago when they first bought Daredevil back.
Well, what is it?
Pretty much. It had to be 25% different, but not only does it have to be. That was then after JPEG acquired the rights to the Netflix series. They actually could do it just like them. Now it's a creative choice that they want it to be as much on its own, just so that it can fail as badly as possible. Now, obviously, that's not the official reason, just the practical outcome.
Yeah, and we also heard that Feige wants to put his own stamp on it. That's why they're retreading ground that already has been. I can't believe that some of the folks involved are playing ball, but it sounds like everybody's pretty much been recast but him. And
So what is it here? So was this like a discussion between the stuntman and another on a podcast basically? And they said, because it seems, at least to me, that it seems the go-to guy for Marvel stunt visuals. Blah 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 blah. Scroll down. It's probably too late to change it now. The veteran stuntman further buried any hopes of his return by revealing that Marvel has told every person working on that show that they don't want Born Again to look anything like the Netflix Daredevil series. Why would you do that? Well, I mean, that's so bizarre. Trust me, not only did I work on the show, I was one of the biggest fans of the show. I think that Marvel Netflix Daredevil was a masterpiece. It was really good. I really like that. I really like that.
I mean, universally, most people enjoyed it. And
yeah,
why they did this is beyond me, other than now it's just kind of an FU to Chapek, and Feige just doesn't want to do it that way.
Yeah, didn't they get John Bernthal's Punisher also?
Apparently they did. It has not been officially confirmed, but it has been rumored that he is back. He will be back in Daredevil Born Again, and that is going to lead into a Disney Plus Punisher series, which apparently the intention is for it to be rated R, but who knows?
Who cares, though?
I mean, John Bernthal, he always said that the only way that he would be coming back is if it stays true to the character the way that they did in a Netflix series. And unless they did that, he would not be coming back. Now, so him coming back, that either means that they will stay true to that, which is not that likely, or they
gave him enough money to forget about if it stays true to the Netflix series.
yeah.
Well, it's going to be that one, because they can't keep it. They're not going to keep it, are they? There's simply no way. Like they don't want to be upstaged by a former creative's sort of outlook on a show. I mean, that's their sort of hubris, I guess, as it were.
It's not in the case of Daredevil. They're going to be upstaged by a previous iteration of the show.
That's what I mean. But they're so egotistical. They think that they can beat it. Is what I mean.
Yeah.
So they don't want to copy it. They want to go out of their way to be different because they don't want to be upstaged, because they genuinely are so just blinded by their own ego that they think that they can actually be better.
Well, here actually we do have one line of hope though, and that actually is the writer's strike, because Daredevil Born Again is shut down right now.
Yeah,
no more filming is taking place. I don't know how far into filming they got. If they're like more than halfway, less than halfway through the season, I don't know. But it's certainly not completed. So we always have the faint hope, I guess, that in an act of self-preservation, Bob Iger might say, okay, you know what, the stuff that's not yet released, we're going to have to change it all. Because that's the only way that's going to work. Because when you look at the writers for Marvel's Daredevil Born Again, it's just SJWs and CW rejects, the lot of them. They can't write anything good.
Well, that is a recipe for disaster, isn't it? Let's be honest. I don't have hopes for that. But then I don't have hopes for any of their Disney Plus stuff's been absolute wank. I mean, I said on your show, didn't I? About
I haven't seen one good Disney Plus thing on there. The only thing that was good was the Light and Magic documentary series on the beginnings and the history of industrial light and magic. That's the only good thing that I've seen on there.
Damn.
Well, other than Mando seasons 1 and 2, which I thought were.
I wonder if that thing would stand up to a fact check.
Well, there you have it. There you go, Gary. Done with the MCU. I think a lot of people are.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are done, and I think a lot of people are done with the
MCU
as well. Oh, very, very good. Very good. I like it. Well, so yeah, Indiana Jones sounding worse and worse and worse. Well, I bet you anything Disney's kicking themselves, because Disney once owned this, didn't they? The rights to this, The Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
They had a piece of the pie. Now, what this is, if people don't know what this is Jim Caviezel's film that had been sort of, I mean, correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. It had been sat on for years and years and years. No one wanted to release it, so they managed to get it back off of whoever had the rights.
If I may,
it
was completed in 2018. So this is a film that has been sitting on the shelf for 5 years. When you say no one wanted to release it, that's not strictly accurate. Disney didn't want to release it because it was originally made under Fox. Fox were the ones that got the pitch, and they said, yeah, we're going to do this. We'll throw 14 million at it because that's the budget. 14.5 million is the production budget. Then Fox was acquired. The entire entertainment division was acquired by Disney. From that point onwards, Sound of Freedom was a Disney movie. And here's like the thing. Most of the Fox movies that were in the pipeline, they eventually got released, a lot of them. Not this one. This one they buried. This is a movie that they decided that, we're just not going to release this. This is not consistent with the Disney brand. So this will just never release. It's 14.5 million. We can write that off. No problem at all. And the original filmmakers, they, in a sense, already got paid. Just remember, they made this as an independent movie, and then that independent movie was acquired by Fox, and then it never got released. But Disney, they could hire that back again. But the filmmakers, they felt that this is an important movie that needs to be seen. Disney don't want to release it, but I'm sure someone will release it. So that they then went to a number of other.
Well, it's important to say what the film's actually about for those that don't know.
If you want to.
Yeah, if you want to.
Well, it's child trafficking, essentially, isn't it? That's what the film is essentially about.
This is true, and demonetized.
And I don't want to speculate as to why Disney wouldn't want to release a movie about that. But hey.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. But I think that's important to say. And again, this is why your guys' super chats go a long way, because quite literally just saying that would
and this movie could be a bigger powder keg than we think here, because Andre's 100% right. These guys put together, what he was about to say was they put together a campaign to get the rights back to the movie. They managed to do that. They pre-sold $10 million worth of tickets on top of it all.
Jeez.
And on opening day, they've made somewhere between estimates. I don't know if did they get the final out yet, Andre? Because originally they were saying like 14 million, but I was hearing an estimate closer to 20.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
Because they were selling out theaters.
Yeah.
Wow.
And here's like the thing, that this movie technically it doesn't have to earn back what it costs to make. All of that is academic right now. What it needs to earn back to be profitable for Angel, which is the distributing company right now that acquired it from Disney. And kudos to Disney. This is one thing I will give them kudos for. They actually sold it to Angel. They didn't have to do that. If they wanted to, they could just burn every last copy of it if they so chose. But they actually decided that, okay, fine, we'll take some money for it. Now, we don't know how much money Angel had to pass over to Disney in order to get this thing. But that is the money that they have to get back again. Is that 14 million? I don't think so. I would imagine that it was less than 14 million. Case in point, Angel had to crowdfund the marketing and release. That's something that's crowdfunded. They collected $5 million to fund the theatrical release. So I don't know how much they paid Disney. No way it was as much as 14 million. I don't think that. But that is what they have to recoup. I think it's a very good chance that Angel is in a plus on this movie already.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, the comical element of it is that Disney sold this.
Yeah.
And then this film released and then beat their own movie.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
And this Angel company, these movies that do this, they don't even have to have this big, huge advertising budget. What they are, though, is they're plugged into the the churches and all that stuff. So that's how the word gets around about these so quickly. And because a lot of people are like, oh my God, I never even heard about this movie. And all of a sudden I've heard about it nonstop for the last 2 days. Well, that's why. Because it's a little grassroots campaign, and these are the same people that would, made Jesus Revolution huge, going all the way back to like the Passion of the Christ. That's how they were able to make these movies bigger hits. And they don't need the normies, right? Like they don't even have to advertise to the normie public because there's enough word of mouth through these channels, and it gets out there. In fact, that was one of the first places I heard about it was on some religious thing the other day. And then all of a sudden everybody starts talking about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I did not realize that this was what that movie was about until then. I kind of put 2 and 2 together and I figured out what was going on here because that's how these things happen. They also did that with that Mark Wahlberg movie a little while back, the priest one. That one didn't do as well, but it was a decent film. I can't remember the name of it. It's Father Stu, I think it is. But like they do, and even R-rated films, they did Nefarious. That's one of the reasons Nefarious did so well.
I just watched that, man. That movie is trippy.
So this network that they use to sell these movies is working for them, and I think Andre's right. I think this is going to be a very profitable movie by the end of the, end of its run, and I think by this weekend. See, that's the other thing that we didn't even point out. This movie didn't only just kick Indiana Jones's ass by 3 or 4 million or more. It did it in half the theaters, less than half the theaters.
Yeah, that's the
so I guarantee you by this weekend, Indy's going to get pulled from a bunch of theaters because we got a couple of big movies coming out. Plus, this movie is going to take over a lot more screens, I bet.
Yeah, we got Mission Impossible releasing tomorrow. You've also got, it's tomorrow, isn't it? And then you've also got Insidious as well. So there's 2 big movies, and you got this one already proven that people want to go watch it. Indiana Jones is fucked.
That's the interesting thing. Like it might not reclaim the number 1 spot ever again.
I don't think
in the US at least.
Yeah,
no, I think Indy's dead. It's done.
Yep, done.
It'll be interesting to see what next weekend's or the second weekend box office drops.
Basically, right now, Andre, the most they can hope for is that they reach 100 million domestically faster than The Flash did. I don't know if that's even possible. Because for those who don't know, Warner Brothers is over there going, yay, right now, because Flash finally crossed 100 million domestically.
But, what a good film to actually, this is one of those films that deserves to do well as well. Like we talk about other films to go see outside of Hollywood and things like that. This is one of those films that should be watched. Pretty tragic, pretty awful material. It's not exactly a feel-good film, clearly, but it's still one of those things that, is not talked about enough. Unfortunately, does go on, as disgusting as it is, and should have the spotlight put on it. So good on them for working diligently.
It's probably a better story than Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysfunction over there.
Well, and I Nate a review in the background here. I don't know if he wants to even get into it or not, because I know Andre and I are trying to figure out a way how to do a video on it. But when I said this movie is going to be a bigger powder keg than we think possibly, I mean more than just the box office. I think this movie might be one of the movies that is kind of the turning point. And we'll get into it maybe at some other point more deeper. But yeah, like they're trying to treat this movie like it's a right-wing fanatic film at this point. So don't be surprised if that starts amping up some more. I mean, it might die off like Top Gun did because they tried to do the same thing to that movie and they realized real quick that wasn't going to work. And they backed off. I think it's getting to that point. And the reason is I say we need a couple movies that kind of do stir up, some controversy like that. The kind of, especially a movie like this where you can say, how can you even be against a story like this? Like,
exactly. Like what? Well, I guess that speaks volumes, doesn't it? Really,
exactly. My point. I don't know how deep you want to get into it, but exactly.
Gotta try and skirt the edges a little bit here. But
War Monkey knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's the article I just shared with him.
Yeah. Well, we do have a super chat from Gary here, another £5, and he says, in She-Hulk, Daredevil fights with CGI instead of real stunts. They had close-ups instead of wide shots. They had quick cuts instead of one takes. Was it CGI? God, if
Oh
it
yeah,
works.
it was all CGI
Yeah.
enhanced. This is kind of like what the stuntman was saying as well, that the only thing that they used for CGI was like some minor enhancements here and there, whereas in She-Hulk it's practically like a video game.
God, well, I mean, it was She-Hulk was fucking disastrous anyway. What an absolute joke of a bloody film. Terrible, terrible, terrible film. Through and through. Anyway, funny topic after that, unfortunately, sort of heaviness. You sort of alluded to it already, Tom. The Flash has passed the $100 million. After 3 weeks. After 3 weeks.
Oh Lord!
Got
I
there
never
finally. Round of applause for the Flash.
A movie that has made $100 million at the box office would be considered a bomb. I never thought I'd live in a world, but it is. It is.
It's the world we live in these days.
It's just insane, isn't it? I mean, you know, we've sort of covered it to death, really, this film. But Jesus, like 3 weeks. 3 weeks it took. This should have happened in the opening weekend.
Hell yeah,
It should have.
Should
We have now
easily
reached a point where 300 million is the new 100 million.
Well, it's almost like $1 billion is the new 100 million. Quite frankly,
that's what I've
nowadays.
been saying. Exactly, yeah. Because it used to be if your movie could hit 100 million, you're golden. Like, and that was back when movies were 20, 30, 40 million dollars to make, right? Like, yeah, because then you knew you were in the clear. You're good to go. Now you're right, because a lot of these movies, and we're learning more and more so in the last week or so here, are costing upwards of $300 to $500 million.
And that's with that price tag, you can open to 100 million and still be a flop. So let alone if you don't even get to 100 million.
God, it's just insane. Like, absolutely insane. So in
Hollywood
under 3
has become
weeks,
Canon Pictures. It's hilarious.
19 days. It crossed 100 or did $100 million at the domestic box office, hitting a milestone that many major superhero blockbusters reach over the course of their opening weekend, sometimes opening day. Yeah. The movie's US total now is 101 million, and with another 146 million worldwide, it did 200 base. It still hasn't passed 250 million. It's only got $246 million worldwide. $246 million.
So, in other words, this one will be lucky to do 300 million worldwide.
It'll be lucky to do 275, man. It'll be lucky. Jeez, this film is dead. All the films that are coming out now, this film, it's done. And it's being pulled from a bunch of theaters as well. That's already been confirmed.
I'm calling it now. It'll be on HBO Max by the end of July.
Oh, I think I've already heard it's going to be out in about 2 weeks on video on demand. Not HBO Max, but it'll be on video on demand here in about 2 weeks. Yep.
God damn. And all these articles always speculate what went wrong. A number of factors are likely to blame. But at the end of the day, audiences just don't seem to be particularly invested in DC movie universe.
No, not since they canceled it.
God.
They're not continuing it. You know, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
The only thing people are really interested in seeing is just Michael Keaton coming back and playing Batman 89 in there. You know, but obviously there weren't enough of those people.
But the thing is, they knew that because that's why they chose to lead the marketing with him. They knew that people were only interested in that, and there was no other interest elsewhere. They were well aware of that from the off, and that marketing did change anything anyway, because no one went to watch it. Awful CGI as well. God damn! Did anyone see that Ezra Miller came out because he had a restraining order dropped against him? Basically, the judge dropped a sort of a restraining order against him.
He got lucky,
and he got lucky, and basically come out and was like, "Oh, this is the triumph for the judicial system. People were trying to take advantage of it." And I'm like, "Well, you're awfully quiet on everything else, mate. You're awfully quiet on the fact that you're in Hawaii assaulting people. You're awfully quiet about the choke slam in Iceland."
I think he's still under investigation for child endangerment because we haven't heard nothing about that yet, too.
That's true. Yeah. God damn. Like, just shut up, Ezra. Like, you just need to
Mhm.
shut up. Don't come out and be like, "Oh, this is a win." No, it's not a win. Nothing's a win. Nothing is a win with you
Well,
here.
to be fair for
It's
him,
not
at this
good.
point, that's what he's got left on his plate is that child endangerment thing. And the reason we may not have heard about it is they've already just assessed it enough. And maybe if the woman left the premises, who knows?
This is, yeah,
You know what I'm
true.
saying? Like these are the things with these kind of things. They don't normally like broadcast what they're all about unless somebody actually finds the information. Which I mean,
Yeah.
Ezra's being watched like a hawk. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the tabloids are all over him now, but that's
Mm,
just it. He's damaged goods. He's not coming back to anything major. He'll be
yeah.
lucky. Mangold will have an easier time recuperating than he.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. I mean, like, Ezra Miller has
Or
really
they
nothing to do with
them.
his name. I don't fucking Tom, get off my podcast.
You know, in this case, I have no problem calling them an it because it is nuts and
Okay.
crazy.
Yeah, all right, that's fine. Oh dear, dear. No, I thought that'd be a nice light-hearted,
To me, that's kind of like the most
jump
interesting
there.
thing to read about, like his lawyer and stuff like that, saying they are doing much, much better at this time this year than this time last year. They are doing great in their
Ugh.
recovery. I'm sure that they would be doing much better if one would stop enabling this.
Yeah, I agree.
Or
Oh,
enabling their
absolutely, I agree.
schizophrenia. I mean, they clearly can't be one person anymore. They,
Oh, mate,
them,
honestly, it's just
are.
tragic. Absolutely tragic. Fucking clown world. Absolute clown world.
Look, I will respect if somebody is like trans and wants to be called a her, she, normal cases, which I'm normally not going to say that to your face anyway if I'm talking to you, so big fucking deal. But they them is so just ridiculous to me. I'm sorry. Like, how can you be both? You're bisexual. End of discussion. Okay, we get it. It doesn't make you any more special than anybody else. Move along.
Can I? Yeah. Clown world. There you
Pick
go.
one and move on.
We're living in a clown world. Jasper says, "Get me off this clown world." Everyone.
That's cute. That's adorable.
I saw that
Looks
was
just
on a
like him.
t-shirt. That's on a t-shirt. And a mug as well. Teespring link down below, ladies and gents.
Chill
Grab
that.
yourself some clown world merch. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, let's shuffle on now. We've got 2 super chats here. So we've got one from Al Humphreys for £5. Says, have you guys seen Asteroid City? I thought it was brilliant and quirky. We need more films like this. Thank you and take care.
Andre did.
I've seen it.
I've not. What did
I
you think?
loved
I've
it.
heard
It's my
mixed.
favorite film I've seen this year, which is also from this year.
Wow. Okay.
Andre's a newbie to what's his face though.
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson, yeah.
Oh,
So
are you?
keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah.
I'm a newbie to him. I need to rewatch the movie. There's obviously stuff about it I don't get because I'm not accustomed to this director, and he has obviously packed it with symbolism and stuff. But what I did get, I did like, and yeah, big fan of this movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Didn't he do a? You should watch. You should watch Isle of Dogs if you like.
Yeah, I saw that like when it came, but I have to rewatch it now.
That's great. Isle of Dogs is great.
I love Steve Zissou. I love the
that one I've never
Royal
seen.
Tenenbaums. Royal Tenenbaums is better than you'd think it would be. It's even though it's not.
Yeah, sorry, carry on. No, I was going to say the only movie of his I've seen before is like Moonrise Kingdom and like that Grand Budapest Hotel. But I only like watched them with half an eye. I didn't like look for subtext or like try to analyze them or something like that. And that's kind of what intrigues me about Asteroid City.
Yeah, I like Grand Budapest Hotel. That was quite good as well.
Those I haven't seen his last couple, yeah, sadly.
Have you seen Isle of Dogs?
I have.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay, yeah, good. That's a great movie.
I think that was the last one of his I actually saw, to be honest.
That was the last one I watched. That's the last one I
Yeah.
watched as well. Bloody good.
I want to see Grand Budapest. The other one I wasn't really aware of until Andre brought it up. And then no, this one I kind of wanted to see, but I loved Steve Zissou the most. Royal Tenenbaums is pretty good. Great cast. Rushmore. If you've never seen Rushmore, I think that was his first movie or one of his first movies, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That one's pretty good too. That one's a bit different than his other stuff though, because that's more like a regular movie. But
yeah, which she seldom does, to be fair. Which she seldom does. I need to check out Asteroid City. So we've got a follow-up from Liam John Smith for $4.99. Says, I mean, they likely took out the lizard that's in the concept art, and I think the studio confirmed they made the owl less of an origin story focus. This is to do with Sonic, isn't it? But that's concept art. It doesn't sound like the script was finished by that point. I'm guessing. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think that they made any major changes to the movie itself, other than what they would have done anyway. I think like the big change they did was in design, but other than that, I don't think they did anything to the story because the audience didn't really know the story. So I think whatever changes that they did there, those changes they were going to do anyway.
Yeah.
There was no
or they came in the editing process. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's kind of like what I mean. That would have happened anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyway. I don't think. I mean, Sonic still. What a great. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna tell him. Feel free to send me anything if you got something on it, though. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd never heard anything about that, but again, always keen to learn more. We can't always hear everything. So, who wants to hear about an alleged alternate ending for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny?
Oh, another one.
Another one. Well, this was kind of rumored at the time, to be fair.
I was gonna say there's one that we rumored. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we again, yeah, this was kind of rumored at the time. So the rumor is the alleged alternate ending is that Phoebe Waller-Bridge, her character, it's her hand that stakes the claim on Indy's hat at the end. So a rumor provides details about an aborted ending for Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny, that depicted Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character taking Indy's hat and taking over for him. New rumor is from WDW Pro, who is pretty reputable, actually. Comes in the wake of numerous rumors that Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company planned to have Waller-Bridge's character take over the Indiana Jones franchise. Back in June, there was some information from DVD. Says 2 endings are supposedly being considered in the script. I guess they've been written in. They're going to shoot both of them. Both endings allegedly have old Indiana Jones dying at the end of this movie. But in one of the rumored endings, young Indiana Jones dies alongside old Indiana Jones. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge swoops in like a vulture, picks the hat up, and takes his place moving forward. And then there's one from the Daily Mail in September 2021. It says Phoebe Waller-Bridge is being tipped to replace the veteran actor as a female version of the fictional professor of archaeology in the adventure franchise. It'd be a huge statement and a great role for Phoebe. So the new thing, I'll just sort of scroll down. So the new rumor, I guess, but it's sort of already what we heard before. WDW Pro says shares highly specific details about the ending and how Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character would take Indiana Jones's hat and seemingly the franchise. So he said Indiana Jones was going to be lying on the grass with Archimedes there, but he was going to convince Waller-Bridge to leave him there and save Teddy and the others, go back through time. They could not take him back with them, and he would give her his hat, tell her it's time for her adventures, yada, yada, yada. She and Teddy and the other gentlemen that are there then attempt to escape through a very significant action sequence, and they go through the time rift, and then you find that she, after going back to the original date, that she would have learned her lesson in the final scene, where she's no longer out to make money off of these artifacts, but instead she's working to get them to museums where they belong. And then there was going to be a second appearance where after that fades out, Indiana Jones is back with Archimedes in the past. It turns out that he had a clever plan an entire time. And that was that he tells Archimedes that he will explain the Dial of Destiny to him and tell him all the kinds of secrets if only he will write one special message on there. And he has him do so in a language Indy knows. The message is something to the effect of, tell her you love her and tell him he'll die if he goes to war.
That also sets up the Back to the Future ending I was talking about.
Yeah. And then it was going to go for the very last scene to Indy when he takes the Dial of Destiny from Basil. It goes to where Indy takes the Dial of Destiny away from him, when he's supposed to destroy it, and then he sees that message in a language that he understands, and he gets kind of wide-eyed and shocked, and that was going to be the end of the film. It left the audience hanging as to whether or not he was successful in saving his marriage and saving Mutt based on the message that was sent.
See, and I had heard there was a version shot that did show that they had managed to change something in the past, that like it was similar in the way that it ended now, but when he wakes up, he doesn't wake up in his bed, I was told. He wakes up in his chair like he was in the beginning of the movie, drunk. Only when he wakes up, he doesn't have like the bottle sitting there and all that kind of crap. And he's woke up by Marion just walking in with groceries. And she doesn't say anything about the place being empty or whatever. She's just there. And he like looks at the fridge and the divorce papers are gone. And I think there's like, I can't remember. She says something about Mutt coming over for dinner or something like that. And it just basically implies that everything's back to normal and nothing is wrong now or whatever. And then I can't remember how else. I can't remember if Helena is still in that ending or not, because like I said, this was months and months ago I heard about this. And that's what I had told it was referred to as the Back to the Future ending. Then they had the other and more ambiguous ending. And then they had the original ending where she takes over and does all the adventures on her own or whatever. This sounds like it's somewhere in between those two. So who knows how many, because didn't Doomcock report that there was like 6 different endings or something like that? I'm not saying that that's an exact number, but I wouldn't be surprised.
What he did report, and we heard this too, was that there were a number of different endings and a number of different pathways to that ending, meaning that they could configure the movie any number of ways.
Sane. He looks at the fridge and an explosion goes off in the distance.
and that certainly does fit with what we saw in the final movie, because the final movie does kind of like this doesn't come naturally at all. The ending there, it does not flow from what came before. It was kind of like built up to Phoebe Waller-Bridge being the new Indiana Jones with her new short round. That's what the movie was building up to.
And given their track record, I 100% believe that there probably was an ending where she puts on the hat and all that sort of stuff. Like I can that's totally believable to me that they would do something like that.
Well, and I mean the version we got now. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the thing is, it's not out the realms. Like as you say, right? You hear this and you go, well, yeah, of course, because this is what they do with everything. So, you know, regardless of whether it's a rumor or not, it's incredibly believable. Like, would you put it past them? No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, of course they would do this. Unequivocally, they would. They, you know, it's not like some of these outlandish rumors that you hear that are so laughable. You just go, fucking Jesus, shut up. Like, of course. like again, just for argument's sake, like the rumor that Robert Pattinson banged what's her face on the Batmobile. I mean, that's just pure bollocks. Obviously, right? I'm not going to believe that.
I've heard enough. I didn't believe it.
I'm not going to believe it. Like, of course, obviously, but this you hear and you go, probably some truth to it. To be honest, probably some truth to it.
Well,
so yeah,
and then of course John Williams came out and said that he had to go back and redo music for an ending. So he kind of confirmed that there was a new ending, to the film, because he publicly came out and said that he had to go do new music.
What a shit show!
Not only that, I think what's her face? I just forgot her name. Karen Allen, I think, confirmed that she wasn't brought in until way late in the game. And then she even had some off the cuff remark, I guess, to the effect, I'm paraphrasing here, that the old writers, the movies were more revolved around her and him, basically, or him and her and the romance or whatever. She didn't feel that way about this movie or something. I think she was kind of reacting to how do you feel about the criticism of the movie or something to that effect or whatever.
Yeah.
She was probably there for less than 3 days.
Not even, probably. Maybe a day.
A morning. Got to be a morning, surely.
I mean, if they actually shot 2 or 3 different endings with her, then maybe a day or 2. But like at the end,
but what we saw there, I mean, that was being on set 2-3 hours.
Yeah, a morning, literally. Get here at 9, leave at 12. There you go.
Bring in Karen. She's done. Okay, see you later.
Bye. Yeah. So anyway, we got some super chats to get to. So we got one from Elijah Snow for $4.99. He says Phoebe is like some kind of Lovecraftian mind virus that keeps hopping genres like The Color Out of Space. Why can't she stay with sitcoms?
It's true though. How what in her history, and it's kind of the same thing with all these people, right? Like the Gilmore Girls writers on Star Trek, for instance. Like, what in their history makes you think, oh shit, Fleabag, I think she should be in a Han Solo movie. Oh, yeah, she should be writing James Bond. Oh, what?
I think she should be leading the Tomb Raider franchise, which is now what.
Oh, she can run Tomb Raider. Exactly. Like, what the? Where?
Lovecraft. Oh, because what it is, and we've seen it before, and this is probably the most egregious example of it, is when Hollywood finds their new it. They're like, this is the new it. We're going to make this person the next thing. And this is what they're doing. They're just trying to make her the next thing. They think people like her. So they've signed her up to everything. And they've done it with actors. They do it with actors, with directors, with producers, all the time. They're like, oh, people like this person. Sign them up. Everything. Sign them up to everything. That movie that he made 10 years ago that we didn't release it now.
But nobody likes her, and they keep signing her up.
I know, well, but they're learning the hard way now, aren't they?
Yeah.
This is the thing; they are learning the hard way. But great comment there, Elijah Snare. Thank you to everyone for the super chats. As you can tell from the content of the podcast, we do get demonetized, so it is funded by you. So if you enjoy it, super chat. Olaf Van S for €2 says, "Didn't Star Wars: Fall of Skywalker have 6 endings as well?"
Something along those lines.
But that was indeed the rumor that was like another one of those that could go any number of ways. So
yeah, I can believe that.
They didn't even know Rey was going to be a Palpatine till they started.
I don't know, but I'm sorry, but in a storytelling manner, I don't understand, because like fundamentally, structurally, you have to set up your story to where certain beats are hit and certain things are hit and certain story points are hit. You know, otherwise, if you don't know how your story ends, how do you know what to tell people in the earlier parts? Like, that's what I don't understand here about what these movies that change. Like, I understand a little variable here or there. That's fine. But I'm talking these massive different endings, and we've only seen it a few times. But it's like where they actually have released them and let us see them anyway, I should say. Because I just don't understand how you can get from point A, B to C without knowing what C is going to be.
But you know what it is. They're happy just to pour money into it. This is why Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness cost $100 million more than the initial production budget, because they didn't have any. They fucking went back from like reshoot literally the entire film. It was like a 12-week reshoot schedule that they had. That is principal photography on a film,
right?
You know, like they don't have a clue, and for some bizarre reason, they're happy to pour money into it. But then all that gets released is a disjointed piece of shit.
Kathleen Kennedy is the only producer in history that I can think of that has reshot more than one movie twice.
God.
Solo and The Last Jedi just come to mind offhand. Or not The Last Jedi, Rise of Palpatine.
And we're not talking about standard scheduled reshoots.
No. Yeah, completely reshot the whole movie.
Yeah, we're talking about proper bare bones, going back to the drawing board. Like, yeah, absolute jokers. Absolute jokers. They really are. What a shit show. Well, speaking of Kathleen Kennedy, again, Indiana Jones sounding worse and worse. You see why I titled it that now. Kathleen Kennedy wanted James Mangold to jettison Marion Ravenwood from Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Apparently, this is a rumor.
I believe it. That's why she was divorcing him in the movie. She wasn't meant to be there.
Yeah. Again, you hear this and you go, yeah, it's a rumor, but I can believe it. The evidence was there in the film.
I'll tell you why, Nate. Talking about storytelling. If both of them are dead in the movie, he has 0 reasons to come back to the present at the end of the movie.
Yeah, that is.
So that matches up directly with what I feel was probably the original ending.
Well, it lines up with the dialogue. I have nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and a divorce doesn't quite cut it, because he was clearly, no, you're right. Absolutely right. So yeah, new rumor claims Kathleen Kennedy, as dull as dishwater and as fucking moronic as well, was behind his decision to jettison Marion Ravenwood from Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So again, comes from WDW Pro, good source. So he relayed that one of his sources informed him that Marion and Indy were together for this adventure again in the Spielberg scripts that were put together, and that when James Mangold came in, that he was heavily influenced by Kathleen Kennedy to drop Marion and switch to a younger woman who would be able to essentially act as the new lead, and then have Harrison Ford play the part of a broken kind of Indiana Jones, which James Mangold likes a sour, dour movie anyway. And I like James Mangold. He made one of the best films of what was it, like 2019 or 20, I can't remember, 2020, Ford versus Ferrari, incredible film. He's a brilliant filmmaker usually, but obviously he did this for hire, and his type of filmmaking doesn't line up with Indiana Jones. And obviously Kathleen Kennedy was like, look, do this for me and you'll get your Star Wars film that you can just do what you want on, really, because it's set in the past, so do whatever. I can believe all of this. I can believe all of this. I can believe that Spielberg scripts, Indy and Marion were together. I can believe that. And I can believe when Mangold came in, his normal dour tone plus Kathleen Kennedy going there and talking to him, no, you need to change this. And him like, oh yeah, it sounds about right. Sounds like what I would normally do. I can believe all of this. I can believe all of this.
Through nasally cocaine nose job voice.
and then WDW Pro said, in all fairness, I'm told that Harrison Ford was keen on that because he wanted to have a more hefty role in terms of pushing his acting abilities with Indiana Jones. He did not want to play the same Indy for the fifth time. There you go.
There we go.
Don't listen to that.
There's the rub.
Is as guilty as everyone else, and he deserves no sympathy for this.
Yeah,
because he's every bit as guilty.
Yeah, Andre was saying that Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, and as we know this, because as we were just saying earlier in the show here, there's certain actors, there's a handful. Yeah, you can say they know their character and you can listen to them. Harrison Ford's not one of them.
Karen Allen literally said this to Variety, said that she had a much larger role in the film Steven Spielberg was planning on making before he stepped away from the film in 2020. I think because the last time you see Indy and Marion, they've gotten married. I don't know that I thought we'd pick up from where we left off. Yeah, didn't everyone? But I did always imagine that it would be a story with Indy and Marion going forward. When Steven was going to direct the film, I think the scripts were more focused on an Indy Marion story. But when Steven stepped aside, and James came in, he started fresh with new writers, and they just went in the direction they went in.
Well, and there we have a good idea of why Spielberg probably left too. Anyway, continue.
No, it just says they were going to tell a different story. That's not to say that I had ever read a script that Steven was working on, because I hadn't. But I just knew from conversations that we'd had that the ongoing story had involved Marion in a much bigger way than the story that they ended up with.
Was Steven at that premiere thing, Nick?
In LA?
Yeah, was
just George. Was he there? I couldn't remember.
No, Steven was there.
Yeah, Steven was there.
Because he's
still an executive producer and all that shit. Yeah.
Well, no, it's because he made Kathleen Kennedy look a complete fool.
That's right. I was trying to remember. Was that him? Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, like made her look like an absolute.
But
fool.
I speculate that that's what came between him and this production was her. If I had to take a guess.
Well, Kathleen Kennedy.
She probably threw her dick around and said, "Guess what? I'm the boss now, Steven."
Yeah. I can believe that. Again, you hear these things, you go, I can believe it.
I fetched your coffee for all those years, Steven. Guess what? Now you fetch my coffee.
You fetch your man, bitch. You're mad, bitch.
How much you want to bet that she even told that him? Like, now I'm in charge. Steven, go get me coffee.
Yeah.
How much you want to bet that?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Happened.
Because what else is going to come between him and Indiana Jones? Because I'll tell you one thing about Steven Spielberg. Even when his heart wasn't in it with Crystal Skull, he was at least there, right? Like this, he's very protective of certain elements of his life, because he saw Jaws get away from him, and he vowed never, ever to let that happen again. The Jurassic series, yes, he stepped back from, but he also made sure that he was, still overseeing that franchise's quality going forward.
Yeah.
Right. There, he has a very specific idea of what he wants to do with things. Crystal Skull wasn't it. I'm sure he thought, okay, this one's mine. And when Kathy's sitting here going, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this, and he's like, well, what about what I want to do? You know, and what the fans want. And she's like, well, fuck the fans. We're gonna do this because we gotta keep this franchise going because I'm the boss now. And blah 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 blah. And he's like, well, guess what? I'm done. I got better shit to do than watch you kill Indiana Jones.
No.
Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it.
And George already knowing how things are operating over there, because he's
George
already
is like an abused wife at this point.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not getting involved because he said it. You know, I would just muck everything up. They're not going to do what I want them to do, and I can't make them. So, you know, they'll go their way, I'll go mine.
Jesus.
He just shows up for photo ops. And look, honestly, I hate saying this, but I've heard some rumors about George's health not being the best lately either. So
he the last time I saw him in public, he was needing help, you know, to get out of the car.
I'm not implying anything, but like, yeah, it did look again like he had something happen, and he's not doing the greatest right now. I don't know.
I mean, he's getting up there in age for sure. He's not a spring chicken anymore.
Yeah. Right. Well, speaking of Disney, speaking of Lucasfilm, speaking of Indiana Jones, let's have a good old look at what mainstream media is now saying about Disney. Coincidentally, everything we've been saying, everything we have been saying, they're finally catching up, or maybe the checks are bouncing.
You think?
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, I'm not going to rag on Variety too much, because I mean I made a video about this on my main channel, and I'm not going to rag on them too much. And the reason why is simply because it's not a bad thing that this is getting more mainstream attention. Like, it's good. Yeah, sure, they're late to the table. Yeah, sure, they're saying what we've been saying for years now. They've finally said it, but at least it's getting out there more and more, at the very least. And so, look, yeah, you're late to the table. Yeah, you're just parroting what we've been saying for years, but good, because it's still going to get out there more, and that's important. But they went really quite hard on them. They could have gone harder, obviously. But again, it's talking all about its budgets, and again, reiterating things I've said. Disney has been the Teflon movie studio. They were the name in family entertainment, the name for families, family entertainment. You had Marvel, Lucasfilm, Pixar, and Disney. Now, long reigning titan of the box office has shown cracks as 4 of its biggest releases from those brands and others have struggled in theaters. So Ant-Man and the Wasp is not likely to lose tens of millions. It's likely to lose over $100 million, right? The Little Mermaid remake no one wanted has now lost money still. Elemental, that opened to the lowest Pixar opening ever. It's well known that they have a $200 million budget, give or take. So that's lost hundreds of millions of dollars. And then Indiana Jones, we know now that it's actually about $350 million investment. So that's losing hundreds of millions of dollars. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But again, to see this on a Variety article, crazy. They even say on paper, these films seems like they had all the makings of huge hits, but somehow the Disney sparkle was lacking. And so they say, they talk about Haunted Mansion, Guardians of the Galaxy. Looks like it'll be the studio's biggest earner this year. That's their biggest earner, and it only just went into profit with an $835 million take. Embarrassing.
You know what this article reminds me of? A saying that acceptance of truth comes in 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Then it is vehemently denied. And then it's seen as self-evident, as in no one ever denied this. That's where we are with Disney right now. Think back to like when the first Phase 4 movies, everything came out. Think back to The Rise of Skywalker, to The Last Jedi. All of us who were saying that Star Wars is in trouble, Marvel's is in trouble, You're laughed at, mocked at. Oh, you're just hysteric fanboys, stuff like that. Marvel's doing great. Disney's doing great. And then it became more angry and aggressive. Disney's doing great. Don't you dare say otherwise. Now you have Variety saying what we've been saying for years.
Yeah, and
Now
as you were
the truth
saying,
is self-evident.
as you were saying, Nate, it's you kind of want to make fun of them, but at the same time, you kind of just want to pat them on the head and go, "Finally, you figured it out."
Yeah.
You know, and
Finally.
it's the same thing I keep saying to people too, where they're just like, "Well, fuck them," you know, when they hear actors finally come around the other way, and it's like, I get where you're coming from, and I'm sure if they said something that was completely like you can't, you know, ignore them, fine, I understand that, but we also cannot turn away from when these people do finally turn the
No.
corner.
Because
You got to encourage it. Exactly. You can't be like them when, you know, yeah, you can't be a dick about it. You got to just be like, yep, you're right. Now, what are we going to do about it? Like, that's the kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so it's funny as well. So Variety even says this. Disney still far outranks the competition in terms of market share in 2023, commanding 37% of the industry's revenues. Now, it doesn't matter. And this is what made me laugh when I made a video about it myself. Yeah, they might command 37% of the industry's revenues, but they haven't made a profit this year yet. Like, if you're looking at all of their films, they've lost money. Like, across the board, the money which has been lost in Indiana Jones, you know, the Ant-Man, Elemental, it doesn't make up for the tiny bit of profit the Guardians of the Galaxy's made.
No, in fact, that was washed out by Indiana Jones, especially because Valiant Renegade had been doing this report that got picked up by Fox News and a bunch of other places.
Yeah.
Where basically he had estimated that at that point, and this was prior to Indiana Jones coming out, that in the past calendar year, they had lost almost $1 billion. So you could pretty much chalk that to over $1 billion now.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely by now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so this is the funny thing, because then they even say Universal is close behind at 31%, but Universal is actually making profit. Because isn't Universal, is it Universal that's the
Universal is the Disney killer right now.
Yeah, they've had Mario Brothers,
Parks, Studios.
Fast X did underperform, but otherwise, you know, they've had some fairly decent hits with Cocaine Bear and some other stuff that did well. Renfield didn't do well for them.
No, true.
Well, just like Kraken movie didn't do well for them this week, but those are like the occasional duds that every studio has.
Yeah. Fast X,
Mario, but duds.
Yeah, Fast X killed it overseas though. Still,
yeah. See, that's the thing. Locally, it didn't do well, but overseas, it killed.
Yeah, it was over 500 million.
Mario Brothers is going to help them for a while. I mean, sure, they got to share a big part of that profit with Nintendo, I'm sure, but they made bank on that movie. Come on.
Oh yeah, absolutely, unequivocally, they made loads of money. So it's funny, you know. Again, all these numbers. This is where they still need to pick up the slack, the mainstream media. So again, I give them a pat on the back, but still, it's all well and good saying that Disney outranks the competition in terms of market share. Sure. But it doesn't matter because they're losing money, right? Still need to highlight those kind of things.
Why aren't they bringing up Warner Brothers? Warner Brothers is the one who's dying right alongside Disney, if you ask me.
Well, this is an article specifically just about Disney. But what I do find funny, and again, they are confirming finally what we've been saying on the conservative side of it. But this hopefully gives you guys. Well, you guys watching this obviously, you know that we know our shit, but there's all the naysayers that keep coming in here. So we have this because of all of its tentpoles, all the time strategy. Disney movies require production budgets of at least $200 million and a marketing cost of roughly $100 million. Now, $100 million is a conservative estimate. Oftentimes, it's more than that. And loads of people scoff when we say that the marketing budgets are that big. So it's really important. Finally, these things are saying it. Finally, you know, they're talking about break even at the box office. And someone who knows a little bit about Disney, we've got Jonas here. How you doing, good sir?
Doing well. Glad to be here.
What's up, Jonas?
The important thing in them spending this much money is because they're trying to build the next generation of merchandise sales more than they're trying to make a profitable movie. The movie situation has to change, but they're thinking to themselves, oh, we're going to get those sweet Black Ariel dollars. We're going to get those sweet Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania dollars. And the movie still has to be good for that to work, though.
Well, yeah. So it has to actually have a market that's interested in it.
Kind of like how those Mario figures are just flying off the shelves, right? Like that's the thing I was getting at earlier is like Universal, yeah, they're not doing too bad. Yeah, they've had some bummers this year, but on the side of merchandising, Universal's got Disney beat right now between just alone Jurassic World and Mario. If you think about it.
Yeah.
The bump in partner retail sales for Mario alone was enough to pay for the movie for Super Mario Brothers movie.
You go to a store, I'll tell you what, every section that has Mario stuff, it's like picked through like there's hardly anything left ever. I know they fill it up every week.
Yeah. And then we have this, right? You know, so this is what made me laugh about this article. The problem is that getting the costs under control will take time. Major movies take at least 3 to 4 years to develop, produce, and distribute, a lifetime in a fast-changing industry. Even if Disney is serious about tightening its belt, it may not make a noticeable difference until 2026 or beyond. That's it. That's if they're not bankrupt by that stage. I mean, they're down like $1 billion for like holy shit. And we know now that a bunch of the ESG money is drying up, isn't it? A bunch of companies have started pulling out of that. So how are they going to prop this up now? How?
I don't see how they can.
The parks are their reliable moneymaker, and those are in the toilet right now. So
yeah, they actually had their. I saw a report that they had their lowest 4th of July weekend with the shortest wait lines. In forever.
That's bad.
Yeah.
And again, another thing Variety parroted that we have been saying for ages is the COVID situation, right? Tens of millions of dollars were added on top of the production budgets. It was actually roughly 25% additional, of the production budget was sort of across the board. That was the thinking that was added, which is insane, absolutely insane. So that's an issue as well. But then you have dumb comments like this. An equity research analyst, whatever that actually is, made up job. If you cut costs, do you degrade the quality of the product? If you spend less, do people like the movies you're making less? And how much and how fast can you start cutting? Well, The Sound of Freedom seems to have proven that completely false, haven't they?
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, I don't remember who said this. I really wish I could, so I could give him credit for it. But somebody was talking to a producer or something like that about their movie being released, and they were worried about it making money that weekend, and the producer just quickly bit back with, "Oh, you don't have to worry. It just has to, entertain people as much as Avatar." I think it was Gary Tunnicliffe who told us this story, and he's like, "What? He's like, "No. Your movie just has to compete with Avatar." And they're like, well, the people are paying the same amount of money to see your movie this weekend that they would normally pay to see a movie like Avatar. And as long as they feel like they got their entertainment value out of said movie, then you're fine. You're golden. If not, then you're fucked. I mean, and that's kind of how it is with most movies. The most average moviegoer, aside from us, doesn't understand or care about how much money goes into a movie. They just go to see a good story. Like, to them, that's at the end of the day what they care about. Sure, they're going to notice some shoddy effects and certain things like that might turn them off, obviously. But really what it boils down to is a movie like The Sound of Freedom can mean just as much to somebody, at the theater getting to see that movie as an experience as seeing something like Indiana Jones or bigger, right? It doesn't matter as long as you're entertained or you get something out of that experience. So, and I've heard The Sound of Freedom movie. It's a tough watch, but I mean, it's a movie that's made men weep, I've heard, right? Yeah. That's the thing is it's a tough movie to get through, but sometimes though people want to be entertained. And when's the last time that you genuinely were entertained at a movie? Most people turn around and say stuff like Top Gun 2 or Spider-Man No Way Home right now, because most of the movies coming out have been crap. So it doesn't even matter anymore if they're woke or not. They're just crap at this point. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Yeah. And continuing Variety's roast of Disney, and it truly is a roast. So Pixar becoming an anemic brand. Star Wars, they're like, it's lost its luster. Set in a galaxy far, far away. They've got some success on Disney Plus, but after the rise of Skywalker,
whoa! That's not even true. I mean, after season 3 of The Mandalorian, and nobody watched Andor. They're advertising Andor today as if it's a brand new series.
Yeah, well, they're saying after 2019. So I guess they kind of muddled it up here, really. So they're saying Mandalorian and Andor, but following 2019 release of Rise of Skywalker, Lucasfilm's efforts to get another trilogy off the ground have proceeded in fits and starts. Several high-profile projects being announced, only to disappear. Again, this is all the stuff we've been saying. They got there in the end. I'll believe there's a new Star Wars movie when I'm seated in the theater and seeing the opening crawl, says Josh Spiegel, a freelance film critic who specializes in Disney.
Yeah,
there have been so many false starts. But this is Variety saying this. This is what we've been saying for years. Yeah. It's just amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Crazy to see. Just
well, as I can say, there's a reason why we do this for a living.
Oh wait, there's more. Right, so live action remakes of classics such as Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and The Jungle Book with theatrical gold mines, even as those films were criticized by some as shot-for-shot remakes of the originals. At that time, the Disney name alone was enough to cut the noise in a crowded market, but the lackluster global turnout for The Little Mermaid is a sign that brand familiarity is no longer the ticket to get people to go to theaters, and the failure of the latest Ant-Man indicates the studio may need to be more judicious in the sequels it decides to back. That's an issue because the studio has found less success in launching new original franchises other than Frozen. Disney desperately needs to create something new. It does a good job at cannibalizing itself. They remake their movies and echo what they've done in the past. At a certain point, there won't be a whole lot for them to echo. Have we been saying this how long? How long now? Creative bankruptcy, make something new.
Yep.
God damn. It's hilarious. This is coming from Variety, of all places.
Well, in Disney, what they did is they really sullied the brand, right? Like, I mean, that's the thing. Disney used to be a thing that parents trusted, kids trusted, to where it didn't really matter what the next Disney movie was. You just paid attention because it was.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it was. When growing up, I knew what every single Disney movie was because they made sure I knew what it was. They made it feel like it was a big event for the family. You know, they would even get your parents kind of excited for it sometimes. Like, I could tell where sometimes there was like my mom was more excited to see a Disney movie sometimes than I would be, you know? Yeah. And I got I'm sure I got drugged to The Little Mermaid. I didn't necessarily want to see it, but I fell in love with it after I saw it. And the last thing I want to see is some shot-for-shot remake, especially if it's not even going to be technically shot-for-shot because you're recasting or you're casting it in people in roles that they don't really belong in, I guess we'll say. But anyway, that's just me. But anyhow, and the audience has spoken, I guess. That's my feelings on it. Jonas, what do you think?
Well, I think the bankruptcy is only continuing as they're now doing a remake of Moana, which is not that old.
I know. I saw that. Oh my God.
They're basically promising, no, it's going to be as close as we can possibly get to the exact thing that you already have. And the reason they're doing that is because that is one of the few things, according to the Nielsen numbers, it's one of the few things on Disney Plus that they own that is a consistent performer. Because you know that if Bluey, their top show of I think of all time on Disney Plus, if they had the movie rights to that, they would be going there. But thankfully, the little adorable Australian sheepdog is out of their hands. They can't ruin that by making it non-binary or
thank fuck for that.
Something.
So. Yeah. Well, what do we think to Variety finally saying what we've been saying all along, Andre? Hurrah or boo?
I am trying to think of a translation to the Norwegian expression "velkommen etter." That's what I want to tell them. Velkommen etter. which basically means something along the lines of, well, welcome afterwards. You were certainly late to the party.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I'm glad that you are finally seeing the reality. But where were you 3 years ago?
Yeah. Well, it's funny as well because it was the likes of Variety and people like that was calling everyone. And recently, they did it recently. It's review bombing. It's all racist review bombers. That's why these films haven't done very well. Blah 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 blah. There's clearly been a change somewhere. Something's flicked for them to finally go, oh yeah, let's just actually tell the truth.
Well, maybe Disney's check to them didn't clear.
Yes, that's what I said at the start. The check bounced. Like,
and that's just it.
Send it on.
Like when all you have to really offer is access, and all you're accessing is shit.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
And people don't care. I mean, after a certain point, they're like, I don't give a shit. You know, it's the same reason why they don't really care so much about certain other studios is because, yeah, it's like, what have you done for me lately kind of mentality. Disney was the only studio that up until like certain points in their history, and we're only talking like maybe 2 points, Jonas probably could speak to it better than me, where basically you had the dark times of right after Walt died up through the 80s. And then, you know, more recently with the post Pirates era where they were trying to get something else off the ground and it just couldn't work, you know, like the John Carters and the all that kind of stuff, you know. Up until then, like since then, Disney, you know, bounced back and they were bigger than ever until more recent years where we just kept telling them like, dude, you're going to hit a brick wall. You're heading right towards this brick wall. You took this thing that you had in Star Wars and Marvel and you're going to destroy it. We all said, look, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. You're headed right there. Oh, they wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you have nothing worth of anything to anybody. Sorry, that was the whole value part of it as far as
and they keep losing money on all their projects. And then here in less than 6 months, they're going to have to fork out another, $27 billion for the Hulu purchase.
That's going to be interesting to see how they can do that because they don't even know how many billions it will be. What you're referring to right now, of course, for the viewers, it's the impending Hulu disaster. Because Universal, they have like this deal where they can demand that Disney buy them out of Hulu at the beginning of next year. And then like they have like 30% or something like that. And then they have to fight, well, how much is Hulu actually worth? Is it worth 12 billion, 40 billion, 50 billion? And then they have to pay Universal 30% of 50 billion.
Oh, God.
You can't afford that.
The minimum amount that they're going to have to pay, according to that arrangement, that was made when they had a lot more money, is $9 billion. And we were all kind of freaking out on the financial side of like, okay, how are you going to even handle this $9 billion amount? And then we found out because someone on the Comcast side leaked to the Wall Street Journal that no, they value Comcast at closer to $70 billion, and this is several years ago too. So a third of that is more in the 20 billions. And
my God,
the guy who runs Comcast has cost Bob Iger so much money that it is hilarious. He is CEO for life. That's written into their charter as a company that he cannot be fired, and he's doing a fantastic job of it. But he was the one who raised the bid to make Disney pay even more for Fox, $20 billion more for Fox. And now that he owns NBC Universal, he's got this 1/3 share of Hulu that Disney legally has to buy, unless he decides to give his professional rival uncharacteristic mercy that I don't think he's going to do. I think he'd rather see Disney burn and Bob Iger suffer than let this one go by.
I want to see that too.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's not like they can do any. It's not like they can sort of make any arrangements with respect to like, oh, we'll give you some shares and stuff either, because that's not going to cut it either. Like,
no, but if you do that, then basically you have to give Universal like a third of your company, something like that.
Well, probably more because it's not going to be worth that much.
And Universal has every incentive to see Disney fail.
Yeah. I said stock price, and Siri's trying to tell me yet again. No, Disney stock price is currently sub 90. still. So I think right now that's
Jesus.
14% of the company worth of value that they would have to hand over, which is, I believe, 3 times as much as some of these huge institutional shareholders that we say have too much power over Disney. To give that to your biggest rival, who's doing better in animation right now, it's a disaster.
So Variety destroyed Disney in one article. We've got some super chats. Actually, your super chat here, Jonas.
Yeah, look at that.
So thank you so much, Mateed. Is it great to see Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, etc., catch up with the rest of us? Looking forward to a year from now when they realize Rings of Power wasn't good. Yeah. Goodness me.
Aren't they filming the second season of that right now?
They are.
Yes, they are.
They fired the first season showrunners, I do believe.
Oh, is that confirmed? I hadn't seen that confirmed anywhere.
Well, I had heard it. I'm not reporting. I'm just. I'm
okay. Yeah, I know, because they hired all female directors, because that's what was missing from season 1.
I never heard that they fired the showrunners, but they like sidestepped them a little bit, like pushed them a little.
Well, I'll go with that then.
Yeah.
Is that they brought in, as you said, all female directors for season 2. That'll fix everything. You know, that was the real problem with season 1. Too many male directors.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough pussy around. That's basically what they're saying. Just need more. Mecha J for $5 says, from TV Line, the live-action Powerpuff Girls series has officially shut down. It was handed back to Warner Brothers from the CW and won't be developed any further. Yes, I did see this. I saw that a while ago, actually. It's about a month ago now, I think, if I remember seeing that.
How many times did they have to cancel that shit?
God, I know. Like, thank fuck that thing's dead. Christ alive. Goodness me. Tommy Reviews for $5 says, going to see Sound of Freedom this weekend. Also, awesome. Andre, what was that band you mentioned earlier in the week? And they did a song called Future Hail.
Yes, that was in reference to I don't recall the exact context right now. It was on Monday when we had Chris Gore on, and whatever the context was, somehow we spoke about. I was reminded of a song called "The Future." Now, this is originally a song by Leonard Cohen, but he might as well have written it for Laibach. That's a Slovenian band. It is
they're
written
so good.
Laibach, Laibach, The Future.
I've heard of that.
Go check it out. Go check it out on YouTube right now and thank me later. That music video that goes with it is a masterpiece of editing. And it's very, very rare that someone can improve on a song by Leonard Cohen. But Laibach is someone that can do that. So go check that out. Laibach, The Future. And I'm a big fan of Laibach. I actually saw them live 6 months ago. I've seen them in concert 5 or 6 times.
Just as an FYI, my headphones have seemingly died. So if audio sounds a bit odd now, that is why. I do apologize to everyone. Hopefully it's sounding okay.
Audio is fine. If you can hear us, that's the issue.
Yeah, I'm trying to move it further.
Not yet, anyway. We can't hear us. You must have echo cancellation on, so you're good.
Okay, good. All right, fine. Right. Israel R for $20 says, hello, Mr. Agent Panel. I apologize if this was already discussed. Do you guys think that Iger is fearful that KK will sue Disney if Iger fires her now, claiming something like he fired her because she was a woman? Well, what is a woman, I guess?
Can you define a woman?
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. She's probably one of the last people they want to fire, because I'm sure she'll go kicking and screaming louder than Victoria Alonso did. Remember her?
There must be some reason why. Why they haven't fired her. There has to be a reason.
Well, there's a million and one, probably. First of all, we got to remember, she didn't get hired by Disney. So we have no idea what her contract is set up like. George set it up, and I know he set some traps in there as far as that's where people they're going to remake Star Wars. I'm not so sure they can until he's dead.
Yeah.
I think they signed it. In the part of the deal is that they can't remake or do anything to his movies at all.
Yeah, they can't touch the prequels or the original trilogy.
And I think that's true, because otherwise you would think by at this point Disney would be like, well, F this, we need to make some quick money and just release the unaltered versions of the original films.
Which is what a lot of people want.
Can you imagine the media blitz that they could get behind with that, and how many Blu-rays that would sell if you used to say, now available for the first time in 4K Blu-ray, the original unaltered theatrical cuts of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And people would pay $120 for a box set of those.
I would pay $200.
I was gonna say most people pay $2. Yeah. What are you gonna say, Jonas?
No, I'm there. Let me pre-order.
Right?
Disney's been shockingly cool on allowing a lot of those fan restorations to go on, and I appreciate.
I think that's because they can't do anything themselves. So what the hell's the point?
Yeah.
And really, there's not much they can do because why go after any of the fans? Because most people already own them, and as long as you own them, you can't do anything to them. They legally have the right to own a copy of those movies in any other form. It's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of a gray area, but there's not much they can legally do if we own the movies.
Yeah. Well, I think with Indiana Jones being such a monumental failure, and the rumor always being that she was going to, I mean, I'm pretty certain it's been out and out stated that she said she was going to be leaving after Indiana Jones. Like, surely she's got to go now. Surely. Like, no, surely. Anyone?
Well,
she's got a year left on her contract.
Yeah, her contract renegotiations that were supposed to occur next year, according to a source from WDW Pro, my close compatriot, says that they have been moved to this year as opposed to next year. So I don't know if that shaves time off. I don't know if that means we get an announcement sooner. They need something to move the needle before the end of the year, which I forget if their year ends at the end of September or the end of November. Anyways, they don't do a calendar year end of year, so they got to do something before the end of this year to move the stock price.
Well, it's not going to happen, though, is it? What do they have coming out? Haunted Mansion. That's it. That is literally
the Marvels.
Haunted Mansion, the Marvels, and Wish. I think the only way that families are gonna show up to Wish is if they put out some kind of guarantee that it won't have anything weird in it, and they're not going to do that.
So many parents out there are done with Disney to the point to where they could even say that, and they're like, I don't care. I'm not giving you guys my money anymore.
I think people have already said that, haven't they, at the end of the day? But again, like, going back to the whole, like, it's so strange. Like, Kathleen Kennedy, I think you're onto something there anyway. I think it was you, Tom, that said it. There must be something in her contract. Wasn't hired by Disney. There has to have been something in her contract that means she cannot be gotten rid of as easily as anyone else. Not that getting rid of people is easy, but I mean, you'd think it would be with the amount of fuck-ups she's made. I think it'd be monumentally easily. But yeah, no. So there must be something in the contract.
And I mean, I don't know how true this is. I heard what saved her ass when it came to Star Wars, aside from whatever is in her contract that makes it ironclad, is that as long as those films of the sequel trilogy films grossed $1 billion each, that was the only thing they were expecting of her, I guess. And
that is apparently what made the contracts ironclad.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was told.
Like
that line.
Yeah. That was like the one, because what we were told by Mikey Sutton when she was renewed was as follows. It was that those movies had made more than $1 billion, and that was the only requirement. And she had been able to leverage the success of The Mandalorian, even though she creatively had nothing to do with it. On the contrary, she was away. She was still able to say, "Oh, look, here's a success on Disney Plus. Now renew me."
Yeah.
But now, of course, now is the speculation. Like, for instance, everyone seems to be of the opinion that she will be allowed to serve out her current contract and then be allowed to retire with celebration and with dignity and get all kinds of lifetime achievement awards and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think there's actually a non-zero chance So it's a tiny chance, but it's existent. A non-zero chance that she could end up actively being frog marched out the door.
Do go on.
And I don't know this, but this kind of, like, I have no source, no one is saying this. This is just me reading the tea leaves, but in about a month here, we have an investor call, like an investor meeting, an earnings call. This one is going to be the worst one for Bob Iger yet, because now he has nothing but loss. Now he has both the trades and the financial papers have now downgraded Disney shares. Variety is coming out and saying this is the new normal for Disney.
And Haunted Mansion will be out before that investment meeting, that investors call too.
And what's he going to say? Oh, we have full faith in Kathleen Kennedy and her plans for the future. Really? Really? You're going to come out and say that? Or you want to take some decisive action before that meeting? Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that if she were to be let go between now and that meeting, so that Bob Iger can give some kind of message of hope other than, well, we're fucked. Because really, what can he say right now? Oh, yeah, well, he can go out and he can tell the shareholders, well, you've all read the papers. You've all seen our share is being downgraded. You've seen what Variety thinks of our future. You know the Hulu situation. What can I say? It's all true. We're fucked. He can say that. Or he can say that, yeah, this is a crisis now, but and mistakes have obviously been made. And now it's time to turn the ship around. I mean, Jonas, what say you to that? Reporter?
I'm over here racking my brain as to what they could do to raise the stock price. They have so few assets that aren't directly tied to Bob Iger's legacy.
But that's exactly what I mean. And Bob Iger's legacy is going down the drain as we speak.
He should not have come back because now his name is attached to his own failure. He could have blamed Chapek if he didn't come back.
They still keep trying to, though. They do keep trying.
They do try. And it's more and more ridiculous each time they do.
I'm trying to think.
The only thing, how many buy into that?
Yeah. The only thing they have that's large that doesn't have his name attached to it, he came in along with ESPN. I don't think they're going to sell ESPN, but there are people on the board right now that are pushing for that. The Third Point people are pushing for that. They have Hollywood Records that they could sell, and that doesn't have they would still have their Buena Vista stuff attached to it. There was this thing that was floated a while back that, oh, no, we're absolutely not selling Queen for minimum bids of at least $1 billion. We are absolutely not doing that if anyone wanted to put out an offer. Pixar, there's no reason for Pixar and Walt Disney Animation to stay as two separate studios. They fired the only person that made them successful ever since the end of the Disney Renaissance. John Lasseter is over at Skydance Animation, which has a deal with Apple. So Apple, who's barely interested in the movie business, is going to be eating their lunch if he maintains his quality level over there. And what we're hearing from test screenings is that it looks like it's a good family-friendly film that, again, focuses on family and not any of the weird stuff. Meanwhile, Deadline's over here saying the same thing that Variety said about the the market share thing. By the way, Valiant Renegade sent me a text. He says, "Hi, Nate."
He shot me a DM on Twitter with the article as well.
I'm trying to see for the life of me what they can do here, and I think there's two things that need to happen. They need to name a replacement for Kathleen Kennedy, and they need to get her retirement secured before they do that. And they need to name Bob Iger's replacement.
Market share, though, I don't think it would.
Well, I think they have to fix that before they try to bring someone else in to run the Disney company, because that CEO challenge is going to be a problem. And Bob Iger has said that he's not going to buy another company. Kevin Mayer, who was going to be one of the many people who was up for the CEO position, or rumored to be, he was the head of Hulu International. And then he left and he went to go run TikTok. And for some reason, he got in the door there and decided to leave. And now he's working with another former Disney CEO, heir-to-be, named Tom Staggs. The two of them are co-CEOs of Candle. And they own Coco Melon, which is also trouncing Disney on streaming. Yeah. Among a bunch of other things. So if they can get Kevin Mayer to come back, I might have faith that this company can right the ship, and maybe shareholders will, Wall Street will view it the same way. I don't know. They have to fix so many problems here.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to, are they? They're not going to.
No.
Our next super chat is from Tom. Cheers.
Jonas is supposed to read that in a special voice.
Oh,
okay.
It was at that moment she realized she fed up Indy.
Effed up Indy. Effed up. Do it again. Indy. Take 2.
Fine. It was at that moment she realized she effed up Indy.
Now do it with the actual word.
No.
Okay.
I keep it PG on YouTube because I got to answer. I know there's some people from my church that watch me on YouTube.
Okay,
they probably don't like my.
Slide. All right.
They probably don't appreciate people cursing around me. But the line that I can stay behind is I don't do it myself.
This is true. Can't control other people.
Right.
Monk Vodka for £5. Brilliant name. Says about failure and destroying reviews. In Poland, the new Witcher is getting bodied massively. People are preferring the old Polish TV show now. It's bad. Wow. Not something I'm massively aware of, so I can't actually add too much to that. I don't know if any of you guys know anything about this.
I know of its existence, and the Polish series obviously is quite true to the source material. Its problem is that it's a Polish production with a Polish budget. So obviously there's like some limitations there. Like if the Polish production had a Netflix budget, it would have been fantastic. But the problem with the Netflix series is that even though I do believe that most Polish people are very happy with Henry Cavill, they are not so happy with Netflix forced diversity, which is supposed to be like an archetypical take on Polish and Slavic mythology and tradition and folklore. And there's, as our good friend Chato have said, there's no Polish people in it.
Yeah.
Not only that, there's too many people who are very obviously absolutely not Polish and never would have had any part in Polish folklore, mythology, or anything else. And that kind of like breaks immersion just because the film was filmed, just because the series was filmed by people residing in LA and they wanted it to reside or to reflect the demography of LA. That's not going to play too well in Poland. And they've obviously had their fill. And with Henry Cavill leaving, then there's absolutely no reason whatsoever to keep watching that. So I think the Polish have been remarkably patient with what's been done to their very own Polish Elric ripoff.
Yeah, Los Angeles doesn't view Polish as a culture because Polish people have white skin.
This is true. This is true. It's different. That's the lunacy of the left. Elijah Snow for $4.99 says KK has blackmail that makes the Mossad and Epstein look like choir boys. She ain't going quiet regardless of competence. Yeah. Well, we don't know. We discussed this at length. It's
that's a fun bit of speculation.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm sure that she has picked up some secrets along the years, but I wouldn't.
We've got Mexican Iron Man. Nice to see you, dude. For $4.99 says, I'm looking forward to the next Disney earnings call more than the USA Super Bowl or the next World Cup.
That should definitely be an interesting call for sure.
I can't wait. The last one was brutal.
Oh man!
No, the one from two. That was actually the one from 2 ago. That was brutal. The one before that they did better screening and stuff. It was two
Gotcha.
called. That was a brutal one.
Right. That was the annual
Yeah.
where they open it up to the non-institutional investors and they let people, normal people, quote unquote, normal
That's the
people
one.
in there. They
That
they
was-
would
that
say,
was
"Oh yeah,
insane.
yeah, I want to talk about your next thing on Disney Plus." And then he gets in there and he's like, "Oh, by the way, about this stuff on Disney Plus, don't you think it's time to give up on all this woke garbage?"
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So good.
And they just
Olaf
doubled down
Manis.
on it.
Yeah. Massive shout out to Olaf, the mod in the chat. Good dude, helping out here. So massive shout out to Olaf. For €6, he says, heard from WDW that Disney had an emergency meeting soon with the failure of Indiana Jones, etc. People called back from holiday trips for as is urgent.
Yeah,
This is what you heard
Jonas,
as well, wasn't it?
Jonas brought this up on our morning show. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add at this point other than we haven't heard. It's a tense situation in Burbank right now. I don't think anybody's going to, I don't think that we're going to call our source in Burbank. And I need to say thank you to Mexican Iron Man for he's the whole reason we have this source. And we're hoping everybody's okay. I don't think this person is to blame for the failure of Indiana Jones. So we think they're okay, but very much looking forward to hearing something soon.
That's like nail biting stuff, edge of your seat, riveting news.
And it is true that there's a 2-week vacation at places like Lucasfilm after a production comes out. So when the call came out that said no, we want Lucasfilm people at the Burbank corporate office building. So the San Francisco folks, you end your vacation and you show up here on Wednesday to answer for what's going on with the box office here.
Wow. Oh dear, oh dear. And Gary for £5 says, I heard that they're renaming the new Snow White movie to No White.
Hello.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Well, that movie's been in the works for a little while, hasn't it?
It's about getting ready to be done, I suppose. 'Cause that's the one that what's his name? Dinklage pissed a bunch of people off on. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm the little person in Hollywood, and no one else can do what I do. More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, pissed off a lot of little person actors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Some
outrageous.
mighty big rage going on in that community.
I can't remember the exact actor who it was, the little person, but he said flat out, he's like, he just basically cost 7 other little actors their job. It's like, not all of us are like you and working all the time.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I covered it at the time. Like he climbed the ladder and then he took the ladder with him. It's like no one else can climb this ladder now. Fucking the irony of
such a tall ladder.
Warwick Davis got Willow. That's good, right?
Like in the last 20 years, like, can you think of any other, like,
No, like there's no high profile. Nothing.
No. The guy who was in Bad Santa, the black guy.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah, that's true.
He gets a lot of voice roles too, because he's
he was also in Willow as well. I think I don't know if he was in the new show, but he was in the original movie.
You know, the guy who played the chief in Willow, like the head wizard, that guy. I mean, you know.
He played Gwildor too. Billy Barty, yes.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish we had somebody like Billy Barty.
He was probably the most well-known little person actor for years. Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Right. Well,
he should be the next CEO of the Walt Disney Company.
Well, he's no longer with us, but
I know
he could do just as good a job in his current state. I bet.
Agreed.
That would probably boost the market, yeah, straight away. There's dead guys in charge. Sorry, what?
We got Billy Barty. Ooh, isn't he dead? No, you know,
cryostasis.
Sort of.
THX 1138 for $1.99 says KK searching for a fortune and glory killed Indy. Yeah,
that's a good comment.
She is to blame. She is to blame. That actually, we've got 650 people here. Thank you so much. For those that don't know, obviously, just as a quick one, because I don't do this, I do it at the start and then I do it, you know, I've got to do it at the end as well. We're on this podcast twice a week. It's a live show. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays, it starts at 9 p.m. UK time. Thursdays, it starts at 7 p.m. UK time. We have fantastic panel members, as you can see here, with great conversations, great input. All their channels will be linked down below. Jonas, obviously, send me
Oh,
some
yeah.
links.
Yeah, sure.
Chuck it
Everything
as well. So yeah, the podcast is doing really well. I'm really proud of it now. It's going from strength to strength. We do obviously get demonetized, but you guys with your super chats go a long way. So thank you so much. But if you can, what I will say is just give the video a thumbs up. And the reason why I'm saying that, it doesn't make a difference for this stream because they get unlisted. The reason why I'm saying it is it hopefully tells YouTube to notify you, like interaction with the video. Algorithmically, I don't know if it does, but hey, it's worth a try. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it will help. I don't know, but give the video a like if you can. And we got is this a super sticker? I can't see this. From Addison Smith for $9.99. Or is this like a blank comment that YouTube decided to delete the comment? Is that what that is? Anyone?
That is a super chat with no comment, which is either because Addison didn't have anything to say, or because YouTube decided what she had to say was problematic.
He said it down here. Hold on, he said it down here. He says, "Do you think Hollywood should fire those
writers?
Do you think Hollywood should fire those writers or writers?
Those writers, the writers of presumably all the drivel that they're doing." I would say the answer.
I mean, I think they should fire all the writers at Lucasfilm for sure.
Yeah, unequivocally. I'm trying to make sense of Addison's comment.
I'm of two minds on the writers thing. If it is the writers of the shows, they're probably being hired and told, you make this thing and you make it the way I like it. There's so much specific. Oh, and by the way, the lead needs to be a woman and that looks kind of like Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know. I think that they probably are being told to write something along a certain line. Maybe the people that toe the line like that, maybe they need to be fired. I don't know. Michael Waldron, that's in charge of the Marvel stuff. Yes, fire him. Stop hiring people from Rick and Morty and have an original idea.
But Jonas, you just answered your own question there, because it's true that the writers, they are given parameters, but you know what? A very big part of the problem is just look at those writers' room. They're all a bunch of activists and diversity hires, a lot of them. So you know what I say? Fire everyone. Every last mother effing, respect for your church, one of them, and let them reapply for their jobs. And then rehire only the good ones.
Agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. Did you lose us hundreds of millions of dollars? No, you hired.
Yeah.
That should be the remit. We also got another super chat here from High Def 10 for $10. Says, will we ever get a good Aliens or Predator film? Well, I mean, look, it's entirely subjective, right? Whether you think that Prey was a good film or not. So that film's come out, obviously. You could say whether it counts or not, because of course it wasn't released in theaters, but we are getting an Alien movie releasing in theaters. Fede Alvarez, who has done some okay stuff. I didn't mind Don't Breathe. I quite like Don't Breathe. He did the Evil Dead film, not the most recent one. He did the last one, which is, I don't know. Whether that will translate to an Alien film, I don't know. But then we've got the Alien series with Noah Hawley, and arguably he's very good. So I don't know, guys. You want to chime in on this?
I've been,
for
the most part, disappointed with a lot of these Aliens and Predator films, but Prey actually was fairly decent. I actually liked Prey for the most part, but I don't know. I feel like the people who are doing the shows and the movies, don't really know what to do with these IPs. with the alien characters, the Predator character. It's like I don't feel like they really know where to take them next.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if we'll get another not as far as a good one, which my consideration of good is the first Predator movie in the first two Aliens movies.
Yes. Well, Predators has its moments, surely.
Yeah. I like bits and pieces of all the films, even Alien versus Predator, which happened in Antarctica, which I thought was stupid.
No, that was stupid. If only they could have stayed true to the comics on that one. Yeah. No, all I would say is that the only thing that is preventing good both Predator and Alien movies is the talent of the people making them. I mean, it really shouldn't be that hard to create something exciting and atmospheric and pulse pounding. It is something that perfectly well can be done. You just need to find the right filmmakers for it. And if they struggle with the story, Nate, you know this, all they have to do is go back to the Dark Horse comics and say, oh, well, it's 100%. Right here. Here's our continuation from film number 2 onwards. All they have to do is continue right from here. And from Predator, it's even easier. You start with the story, with the Asphalt Jungle or whatever it was called, with the story of the brother of Dutch. I mean, there you go. It's a whole saga. It's ready to go. I mean, it's not difficult. It's been done. It's been done in Dark Horse Comics. And here's like the thing. You could say the same thing about Terminator. And the way that they mucked that franchise up and the way to make a completely natural, logical continuation was right there in Dark Horse Comics. I mean, these holier-than-thou asshole Hollywood writers, I don't know what the hell is wrong with them, that they have to make it so unbelievably difficult. Maybe it's because they have all of these parameters filled, but Dark Horse Comics was able to do what they have failed on the big screen, they've done in the comics with success. And you could still go back and just adapt those comics and it would be an instant hit.
Well, you're completely right as well, is that so not only could they adapt them theoretically, but they legally it's their property. So it was 20th century property, apparently. Like, we found this out recently in an interview with one of the lead merchandisers at Fox, when they were talking about the Aliens versus Predator anime that they were making, basically. And they said about, well, can we not just do this thing from Dark Horse Comics? Can we not just develop that? And they're like, well, yeah, we can, because we absolutely have the full rights to it, which was always a bit of a gray area. Like, what was it theirs to own? Was it part owned by Dark Horse? Was it merchandise licensed out? But they own them outright. Like, that is their stories, it's their work. And so, they can literally just adapt it for the screen, but they choose not to. How absolutely monumentally moronic are they?
It is. And the stories are amazing. They are cinematic.
So good.
Yeah,
so
they are literally, they are up there with the movies. In some sense, they're even better than them. Only difference, people won't say this because they haven't been adopted yet. But if you were to have someone who could do what James Cameron could do as a director, only basically say, here's the story. Now, all you have to do is take like this 6-issue miniseries. And actually, here's like say, for instance, here's a 25-issue series, and we're going to adapt this as a trilogy. So now make whatever little adjustments you need for pace and for trilogy, and emphasize this character, emphasize that character, but really don't deviate, and they'd have a winner.
Yeah.
There's two reasons to that. Yeah. At least in my opinion. One is that, first of all, it's hubris. Because the creative side of it is they have to feel like they put their stamp on it somehow.
That is the problem.
Yeah.
That is the biggest problem of all. Like, there's nobody out there who wants to just simply take, unless you have somebody who is the originator of the story, the writer, and then they end up becoming a producer or director on the project. You ever get a situation where something from the initial concept, the final product, is you know, a perfect adaptation of sorts, or whatever you want to call it. You know, because other times I'm sure it's mostly just too many cooks in the kitchen. You got this producer who wants this requirement, that producer who wants this requirement, another producer who says cat videos are great right now on YouTube. Can you put some cats in the movie? You know, you constantly got these people, you know, sending you notes and things they want in the movie. So that I can understand too is a you know, on a hurdle that you just sometimes can be, you know, just you can't get over. But when it comes to Alien, Terminator, certain franchises where I feel like there is only really 2 movies or 3 movies tops that are any good, there's potential in them. Predator 2 for that matter. But at the end of the day, you got to sit back and ask yourself, is this character, is this thing bigger than not having Sigourney Weaver, not having Arnold Schwarzenegger involved, what have you? And then if it is, how do you do that and make it believable? I mean, yes, fans like certain aspects of things, but to me personally, I could give or take anything after Alien 3. I have not really liked any of it outside of some of Alien versus Predator, but to me it just felt like an also ran video game that I couldn't pick up the controller and play. In the second one, we just don't even want to talk about because that one was so just, I don't even know who came up with the concept for Alien Requiem or Alien versus Predator Requiem or whatever.
Movie about Pizza Ball.
Yeah, right. But anyhow, I just really, I'd like to see something fun in this universe. I'm not saying it's impossible to do something with it, but maybe it's just time to let Terminator and Alien go, and Predator, maybe. I don't know. I mean, Prey, I heard everybody said they liked it, but I just didn't, the concept didn't really sell well to me personally. So
I think the key thing, of course, because it's Fox, it's 20th Century Studios that owns it. Right now, whatever they need to do, they need to make it small so that it doesn't raise to the profile that it has to save the studio. Because if it needs to start throwing around some big financial heft, then I think you have a problem on your hands. They need to go. I don't necessarily want to see a Blumhouse Predator film, but something small and contained.
There's something to that though, Jonas, because the thing with Alien and Predator, the thing that makes them something you could do, and I can't believe they haven't utilized it more, is they play to 2 big audiences, and they're 2 very loyal audiences. That's the sci-fi and the horror genre audience. Especially Alien, you can really play up to the horror genre audience. There's ways you can do these things, but even when Ridley Scott's doing his whole Alien Prometheus crap, like I think he lost sight of what made these things popular, right? And it's kind of the same thing across the board. Predator is the only one that has kind of been able to stay on mostly a pretty solid track, I guess you could call it, because at this, they're the only one. He's the only one that the only character that they've utilized in a way that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, so I guess will we ever get a good Aliens or Predator film?
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this new Alien film that is releasing in theaters next summer. So we will see. We have another super chat from Addison Smith for $9.99. Says, "What are your thoughts on the Singapore movie, the one with the mutant rat?" This is the one in the mutant rat stuck in the subway or something like that. I think, if I remember rightly, isn't it?
Are there 4 mutant turtles in it?
Yeah, no. It's like a basically there's a bunch of kaiju films coming out of like that sort of region. I haven't seen this. I saw the trailer, if it's the one I'm thinking of, and I thought it looked great and I needed to watch it, but I hadn't actually watched it yet. There's a whole bunch of those films which take a little while to get a hold of. And so I hadn't actually got around to getting a hold of it yet. So I can't actually give you my thoughts. I do apologize. High Def for $10 says, "I agree they need someone with a passion for those films and a vision. Unfortunately, too many woke writers and creators." Yeah. So that's just adding to our thoughts about the Alien and Predator stuff. Tom Reviews for $2 says, "They made a sequel comic to T4, which was good." Did they? I don't remember that.
I didn't read it. I did read Batman versus Predator though.
That's so good. I've done a read through of that on the channel actually.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, I actually went back and found the video and I actually watched it.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, gave it a like.
Review. Gary for £5 says Dutch was turned into a cyborg by Cyberdyne because of his radiation. So there's actually a Dark Horse comic which is Aliens versus Predator versus Terminator, which was actually quite a fun one, where Skynet like exists in the future and has spliced the sort of Terminator DNA with aliens and stuff, and mental. It's quite a fun comic though. I would recommend it. I would actually recommend it. I have the graphic novel of that. Beautiful cover on it as well.
I don't know if you guys remember the Sega Master. Was it? Yeah,
Mega Drive. You mean
Mega Drive? Yeah,
Mega Drive and Genesis in the US. You're thinking about RoboCop versus Terminator.
Yeah, RoboCop versus Terminator.
One of the best games ever made.
Yeah,
and it's also a game that is vastly superior on the Sega version than in the later Nintendo port. I have that.
I've got nothing to say.
It's an amazing game. It's literally the best RoboCop game ever made. It's RoboCop versus Terminator.
Yeah, I have heard that. I have heard that before. It's probably from you, in fairness. I have probably heard it from you.
Yeah, that could be. But it's a fantastic game. A great score, great graphics, bloody and gory and everything. Yeah.
That's what you want, isn't it?
Has everything you could want from a 16-bit video game.
Yep.
Addison Smith sent $9.99, and he also has another super chat, which we'll get to in a minute. Eric Henson for $5 says, "Can't believe they haven't made an Alien, a sequel similar to the original. The movies got insane instead of being a monster horror flick in space." Yeah, they did. But that was the thing. So Ridley Scott was never the writer. He was never the creative. He was brought on at the last minute to direct Alien. And a lot of the stuff, which is, iconic about the franchise, wasn't his idea at all. Even the whole cyborg stuff, synthetic stuff, that wasn't his idea. The space jockey wasn't his idea. He was just a director for hire. Now, he made that film look beautiful, but it wasn't even him. It wasn't even his influence that got H.R. Giger on board. Like, Ridley Scott isn't the creator of Alien. And unfortunately, that has somehow been misconstrued across history. I don't understand why or how. But that's why they got insane, because he didn't make them. He was never the original creator. And so he went way off the rails when he came back to it, and sort of explored some sort of fucking pseudo-religious stuff. Gary for £5 says, "Say Dutch is the influence for the T-900 because Sergeant Candy isn't canon. He was in a cutscene." Yeah. So, yeah.
I know what he means. Basically, you could say in the future movie that Dutch of Predator fame is the influence for the T-800, not 900, but the T-800. Yeah. Because the Sergeant Candy scene from Terminator 3, that's the deleted scene where you basically had Schwarzenegger dubbed over by someone who sounds like Nick for a hilarious effect, and then you had like this little skinny engineer who had like Schwarzenegger's voice saying that we can fix it. He's not going to sound like that Nick. So and that's it's going to have like that German voice instead. Yeah.
Addison Smith for $9.99 says, "When Hollywood realizes movies from overseas are making billions of dollars in the US market, do you think they will probably fire all of those trash striking writers and copy their strategy?" Well, I don't know if movies from overseas, I don't think they're making billions of dollars. They're making good money though. But
they're making more profit than Disney and Lucasfilm right now.
Yeah, they are, but that's not the high standard.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, they won't start to copy the strategy of other markets, primarily because the Western market, is dictated by um, you know, a lot of massive influential businesses, basically, you know, like BlackRock and things like that. So no, unfortunately. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know if anyone else has a.
I think they're more likely to just buy these properties, and I don't think translating counts as writing. So we can look forward to a lot of that, and probably I don't know how reality TV counts as far as the writers, the WGA goes, but probably a lot of reality TV and purchasing of K-dramas. So everybody get ready to learn a bunch of Korean names.
K series are really good, like Korean. South Korean cinema is amazing. Like they do some great stuff. Love some of their stuff. I've got a super chat from Noel, I think. Noel White for $5 says, Mr. H, have you seen Aliens Dark Descent? Great game ruined by Mary Sue protagonist. So I've got this question a lot. I've never bothered to sort of really address it. Like I've spoken about it here and there when it's come up. So
I
Aliens
about
Dark
it on
Descent
Tuesday.
It is not a game I'm interested in at all. Now, I bet the story's pretty good. I've said that many times, but the format of the game, I couldn't give a shit about. I don't like those formats. I don't like the sort of group team thing. I hate it. Like I actually hate
overhead
it.
real-time strategy.
I just don't. I don't get on with it. I just can't be bothered. It bores me. It actually bores me. So I'm not ragging on Aliens Dark Descent. I bet it's a good game. I just don't like the format, so I'm not going to play it, and I'm not going to review it because it will be negative. I could probably sit down and watch the in-game cinematics as a movie, like they compile them on YouTube, and I'm sure I'll probably like it. But yeah, that's as far as I can get with my input with it. I'm afraid.
What Aliens game are you waiting for them to make? What do you want to see them come out with?
Alien Isolation 2, mate. That's what
I'm God, yeah, that first one. Oh man, playing that at in the middle of the night by yourself with the lights off. Golly, great
so
game.
Good. Big Owl Games for £5 says, am I the only one who's surprised that there hasn't been an Aliens Avatar crossover yet in any form? Not even a comic, same company and director and all. But he can't influence an Aliens crossover because he doesn't own it, does he? So
that would be amazing.
Can you imagine that? Imagine a Na'vi xenomorph.
God. Getting some dark blues in there.
Yeah.
God. I get a little bit surprised. That's when they make Avatar 10 and it bombs. They're like, right, shit, let's go R-rated. Aliens versus the Avatars.
2073 when they get to Avatar 10.
We're not there yet, but I unfortunately have to drop out right now. I just want to say thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much. I mean, we're literally just going to get to the last super chat and round out as well. But if you need to dip out right now,
I do. So yeah, have a great last super chat.
All right, dude. Take care.
See you, Andre.
See you, Andre.
And I think this is basically the same one from Addison Smith. So I will say, Addison, my dude, because we've kind of already answered this. Well, did actually already answer this. If I think you can cancel this. If you want to cancel it, please do, because I don't want you to super chat twice the same question. That would make me feel quite bad, to be honest. So if you can, please do cancel that down so you can, because we've already answered it. You sort of asked it twice.
Or if you have another question, type it in regular chat.
Yeah. Either or. But as that's going on, what have we got happening in everyone's prospective worlds? Nick of Nick Talks Entertainment. What's going on with you, dude? Because we're going to round out the stream now.
Chill stream tonight. Chill stream tonight on Echo Base Network, which is the main channel. I'm going to start promoting my own personal channel. I'm going to cover a lot of like culture war, political, and entertainment stuff over there. So, like when this Bud Light stuff happens, Target, I'll hit on that. A lot of stuff. There'll be no Star Wars over there. All that staying on the main channel, Echo Base Network. And I'm just going to do side stuff when I have the time and when I can. And, we'll see what happens. It's literally just going to be, I don't know what it's going to be, but we'll see what happens.
Okay.
But yeah, chill stream
Tom?
tonight at 7 Central.
Perfect. Tom, what you got going on, dude?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be on the pro show, but I am going to be on Mead in about 2.5 hours, roughly, a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, do you want to be on the pro show?
Oh, I'm always up for it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll send you the link then. And
yeah. And as Jonas is about to tell you,
yes, I'm on the pro show in about 35 minutes. We're starting up. We're going to be talking Kathleen Kennedy and in Indy 5 and remembering the good times when Lucasfilm actually made movies that people wanted to see. But I have my own channel too. It's I'm probably about to rename it. It's my name right now, but it's probably going to be changed to Everything Woke, where I go through especially kids content and point out all that weird stuff and Marxist ideology that they're trying to shovel down people. 5-year-olds especially.
Okay. Yep. So everyone, please do again give everyone a check out, give everyone a follow. Got one last super chat to get to that just sort of creeped in here from Gary for £5. Says, I like the AVP games where you can play 3 stories: Marines, Predator, my favorite, and Alien gameplay felt unique. Those games were epic.
I love those games. Epic. Me and Coach would play those back in the day with the first one that came out.
Yes.
I'd always be the Predator and get that seeker thing. Just shoot it straight up in the air, dip back into a hole, and it would just find them and kill them. It was so OP.
So good. So good. Well, anyway, guys, that does round out today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, we had loads of people joining in, so thank you so much. Do appreciate it. I'm going to be a little bit away tomorrow for the best part of the day, but there will be some videos later in the evening, probably about this time. So don't expect anything dropping during the day on the main channel, but the Miss H Reviews live archives, the clips are all scheduled ready to go out tomorrow on that channel anyway. And if you haven't already, please do hit subscribe to Miss H Reviews live archives. It's linked in the description box, as is everyone else's channel that was here, and I will chuck Jonas's in there as well.
Thank you, sir.
But thank you all so much for joining. From me on the panel, cheers. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye, guys.